The last time I was physically in Malta was at the end of 2019, when massive street protests on a daily basis involving thousands of people resulted in the resignations of Keisha Kembry, Conrad Mitzi, the self-suspension and later resignation of Chris Cardona, and the final resignation of Joseph Muscat, corresponding with his award as Man of the Year in Organised Crime and Corruption. Now, let me just repeat that. Street protests by thousands of people were the reason why we saw the resignations of Shakembri, Mitzi, Cardona, and Muscat. No matter how bad things get, let's never forget this. We did this. Now, all four men, with the glaring exception of the invisible Conrad Mitzi, have now been publicly implicated in the assassination of Daphne Caruana Galizia 44 months ago today. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying whether they were involved or not, but people are talking. Keith I Lost My Phone Shakembri is currently on bail, charged with money laundering, fraud, forgery, criminal conspiracy, all crimes which Daphne exposed many years ago. And yes, sure, it gives you a certain sense of satisfaction watching Shakembri being driven into the prison with his co-conspirators Nexia BT. But none of the crimes he's been charged with so far directly connect him with his possible involvement in Daphne's murder. And yet, through the gruesome details revealed in court, Keisha Kembry is right there at the centre of it all. He has been accused of being the person to order the assassination. Meshy, meshy, meshy were, apparently, his chilling words. Keisha Kembry, who phoned Joseph Muscat before phoning Jorgen Fennick the night before Jorgen Fennick attempted to escape from Malta on his luxury yacht. Keisha Kembry, at the centre of a plan to pin the blame for the assassination on Chris Cardona, using that cliched artificial plot device, the letter. Handy, isn't it, for criminal thugs to share the same doctor? And Chris Cardona was, of course, drinking buddies with the DiGiorgio brothers. He was, according to Vince Muscat, the assassins' first port of call when they needed help in carrying out their horrific and sadistic plans to assassinate Daphne. Cardona has now also been accused of devising another plot to kill Daphne, before the one that so cruelly did. Chris Cardona, the former economy minister who froze Daphne's bank account so she had no access to her own money when she was murdered. And she was on her way to the bank because of this when she was killed. Chris Cardona, the former economy minister of Joseph Muscat, is she, Mr. Golden Handshake, the one with the power to grant and refuse pardons to fellow criminals within his mafia ring. The one with the power to appoint his successor, safe in the knowledge that the work of Kink of organised crime and corruption would continue to be done by Robert Abela, who just so happens to have as his previous legal clients the Adjuce brothers, who have now been charged with supplying the bomb that killed Daphne. It's mafia. It's bloody mafia, every which way you look. And then, of course, there was the pandemic, allowing the crooks to continue their devious work under cover of sickness and darkness. Protests were necessarily curbed due to public safety, but did that stop them? Of course not. Every month, without fail, this vigil has continued. Every day, without fail, the protest memorial in front of the law courts is kept beautifully defiant with flowers, candles, photos and placards. Occupy Justice has not been silenced. Republica has persisted in taking the government to court, exposing wrongdoing and offering alternative models of social and civic organisation. Manuel Delia, The Shift, and all those journalists working so hard every day to ensure that the crimes committed by this government are laid bare for all to see. The Daphne Caruana Galizia Foundation continue their phenomenal work in the fight to get justice, to protect journalists and freedom of expression, and collaborating on the passport papers arising from Daphne's investigations into the highly corrupt cash for passport scheme. The foundation was set up and is run by members of Daphne's family, and her family, each and every one of them, sustain the fight for justice on so many levels and in so many different ways. Daphne's family, who, dignified, resilient, unwavering, courageous, stand out as a true example of how to live a humane life with dignity and integrity. The fight for justice has never stopped, and it never will, no matter what. No matter how many times the stomach-churning details of Daphne's horrific assassination are played out again and again in court. No matter how many more intricate links are revealed between the various and multiple members of the criminal organisation calling itself Malta government. No matter how many times the same criminals attempt to decimate the landscape with their vulgarity and their greed. The fight for justice will continue. Because no matter the ugliness she exposed, Daphne's search for truth was a quest for beauty. Each time we repeat the words, Daphne was right, because Daphne is right, we confirm the truth of her investigations and her beauty. The beauty of her refusal to give in to the forces of corruption. The beauty of her ability to always stand up for that which is right. Very recently, Daphne's niece, Megan, put out a post about the latest edition of Taste and Flair. She prefaced it with these words: "Surrounded by greed and ugliness, we choose to cherish beauty." The fight that all of you beautiful people are solidly doing on the ground in Malta is beautiful. It is remarkable. It is hard and it is painful, but it is beautiful. It is an unstoppable fight for truth, a fight for justice, the beautiful truth of justice. My solidarity with you always.